Hi, my name's Paul McCormick and I'm site supervisor here at Tunnicliffe Primary School. I'm also studying to become a forest school leader level 3, and that is what we're doing today. We're going to go out into the woods and film me setting up and doing some forest school. This is what we're going to be doing with this part of the forest school. From this corner all the way along the fence, up this side of the fence, and then to them row of mature trees. All this is going to be made up as community allotments, so the community can come in, use them when they want, so everybody's getting a share of what we're doing. This is a school. This path up here is a public right of way that we have to keep clear, so we will be using from this side out, and we'll walk the boundary with you now. So from this tree to the row of them trees we'll now be entering our forest school. That's the allotments. Now we're going to be in the forest school. And this is the forest school. We'll just walk the boundary and then I'll show you where we actually do the forest school itself. As you can see, we started replanting. It's not a very large site, but it is quite rural. What we're wanting to do is wanting to move this path over to this side, so this gives us more room here. And that is the end of the school playing fields. And all this is where we actually do our forest schooling. This is normally where we set up base camp. So what I'll do on these demonstrations, I'll start off by setting a tarp, then we'll light the fire, and then we'll do a demonstration on PPE, and then we'll go straight to tool talk. So Forest Leadership course, Unit 2, and the number is 1.6, set a shelter using tarp and ropes. This tarp was donated. We've never set it before, so it's new to me as well. It's one of the old-fashioned canvas tarps, which is a lot better to set if you're setting over a fire. There's a few things that you have to decide or take into consideration when you're setting a tarp. One, obviously, is the weather. So there's different configurations for different weather conditions. You can set a tarp over a fire, but the size of your fire will demand or tell you how high you should be setting your tarp. If you're setting a fire, no matter how small, never set your tarp lower than 6 feet. Other things is your guide ropes. If your guide ropes are coming out and down to the ground, obviously, I'll show you when I set it up, this could become a trip. So what we do, and what we like to do, is just get a little coloured ribbon and just tie them on, so everybody who's around site can actually see that, yep, there's the guide ropes coming down. Also, we will be taking these out somewhere when we lay it out, and we're going to tie to a tree. Not on this one, but every time we set a tarp up, we use tree huggers to save the trees from damage. We're not doing it on this one because this is the first time I'm setting it up, and I want to see where I can actually fit it to the trees. So let's get in. First of all, to decide where you want to put your tarp, you lay your tarp out. We know that this is our covered fire pit, which we're going to be using in a bit. So that's going to be the centre. I'd like that to be my centre. So now we're going to decide where we're going to put our tarp. Quite a large tarp. There's various different setups for doing a tarp. today I think we'll, because it's our new one, we're just going to have a flat flying. So now that is where I want my tap, but I want it here. So now I've got to look for my tying out points. These carabiners are quite good. So we know once I get this measured and set it up to when I'm happy with my tie out points, we'll put the tree huggers in, and then when we come, it's just a matter of clicking them on rather than not tying. Right, so let's have a look. I'm going to put a short rope on this one because you can see how square it is. I reckon we could get away. And then that'll take me a longer rope straight out. So that's my one. If I get that one up, I think we can bang the other ones out after. That one done. Once we're making this tap permanent, we will melt these ends to stop them fraying. Because if you don't do that, you'll end up with that one. They're not a choice, as always, when setting a tap. I need something secure, and they're not going to come loose. So what I'm going to use is a bore line. Make your loop, get your rabbit comes up the hole, round the tree and back down the hole. So you need a strong knot on this one because this can be very dangerous if it comes loose in wind and starts flapping around. So we're making sure this is not going to come off. And one thing about a bore line, no matter how much you pull it, it will not come off. But if you want to loosen it, just pull that back and go away. We're going to have a bore line knot there. We come up the tree, we are having a fire. So, it is over 6 foot. We'll do a timber it round, over, and then 3 more times round just to lock it off. And that's that done. When we've set our tarp, we come back and we tidy up the ends. This one's a little bit too weak. In with the bore line. Right, so on this one now, we can't put a tree, a timber hitch. We need something that's going to give us some tension. There's different ways of doing it. One of the ways I do it is, I'll show you, we go up the tree, then to get me tension, back round the tree. Now we'll start getting our tension. One more time, go back the other way. Then to lock it off, straight forward, and under, over, and then do the figure of 4, so that looks like a number 4, and then you put it through, pull that back. These will be tidied up later, and to stop somebody coming along and pulling your knot away. You Put a twig in like that, and then at the end of the session, cold hands, you want to drop your tarp, you take out your wood, you don't need that, and it drops off one-handed. So you've got to think about not just putting your knots up at the end of the session when you've been out for a few hours and your hands are cold. Be nice to get a one-handed knot. So I'll bring it round. Over and under. And this is a bit, if you like that, you're making a number 4. Your number 4 and that goes through. That's locks you off any old twig to stop somebody coming past and pulling it and dropping your line. Like we said, these will be tidied up when we set the tarp. Same again, to be a tension knot. Pulling your tension. And go again, this way. Hold your knot. Your figure 4 through your locking knot. Getting your tension. Your second bit of tension. Hold your knot. Figure 4. And through. As I said at the beginning, if our guide ropes were coming off and going to the ground, so if we was coming down and we had to tie out here for some reason, maybe it was collecting water, maybe. When you're staking out, wherever you want to go, everybody does fancy knots and they do all this and that. All you need to do, make a fold, put your hands through, collect it up, put that in there, that's all it is, there's nothing there, that's all. And that will never come loose. I'll show you again in a minute. But what we said about this flapping about being dangerous, once you've done that, you just go through and do a couple like that. So they're never going to It's not going to come loose. You tidy your ends up. And then, I want people to know, there's a here. So, just put that. Obviously you could cut it down, you don't need to be that big. But obviously we're not using this, so, but that is what we do. And same, if we were having if the weather was really bad and these were down head height, let people know they're there. I think that is the tarp for today. It's not raining, we just want a bit of shelter. Just a feeling of comfort once you're under. It seems to change the whole feeling of the woods. You feel enclosed. I'll show you taking this one down. These will be locking nuts. So out comes the peg. That's my knot. Just push it through and it'll fall out. Or keep your rope on and pull your peg that way and it's cleaned your peg. So I'll show you that one again. You get your loop, that's all I've done, I made a loop. Put your fingers in, round, pull it back, so you've got two loops. Put your peg in, pull it tight. And that's all it is. That's what's holding it. You don't think that could hold it, but that will hold it. You don't need a locking nut. You can see that's not slipping, but always be on the safe side, put a slipping lock. Just a locking nut, just to make sure. And then obviously, once you've locked it in, that is not going anywhere. And then you just tidy up your ends. By going up the rope like that. That's how it was tied on. Push it that way, it comes loose. Pull it down your peg, cleans your peg. No knots, no nothing. All that tension these bow lines are under. So that, all you have to do to release it is that bit that comes over. You push that back and we're out. That's a bow line. That's straightforward. Straightforward, it's just over, pull it back, making a little chain, and then on your last one you put it through and pull them together, and that'll stop them moving. And the last one I'll just tie together. Obviously, once you've set your tarp, you wouldn't have this excess, but it's just for today. And then that seems to be up. Maybe a bit low, but probably could have gone another 6 inches maybe, but I'm quite happy with that. So that's unit 2 1.6, setting a tarp. We're now going to move on to fire lighting, setting up a safe fire pit. But first of all, I think we'll go through our safety equipment that we have. We have 2 sets of gloves. We use our rigger gloves when we're setting up and getting things ready. As soon as the fire started, we move on to our welding gauntlets, and we use them. We've got fire blanket, we've got a burns kit, we've got our first aid kit, we've got our bucket of water, we've got a fire extinguisher, and we've got a watering can full of water. And we use a watering can to put the fire out, because it's the safest way of doing it, because if you was putting the fire out, which I'll show you at the end, is you're well far away rather than with a bucket. So that's how we're doing it. It might seem a little bit over the top, but we bring it out and we take it back. So on this site, because that's the public access that I showed you at the beginning, we do leave no trace. We bring everything in, but we take everything out. If we left a fire pit, or similar to a fire pit, or we left things lying around, the local children would be down hacking away at our trees and having fires in the fire pit that's already there, because we've given them the idea by leaving our stuff there. So this is going to be our fire pit. I've dug a little bit this morning, but normally that'll be filled in as if you're leaving no trace, you can't see it. But as you can see, we're going to have to go now and collect our timbers to put round, and then we'll come back when we've collected them, because we spread them out all around the site, so it doesn't look like we're having a fire. So I'll come back in a minute. Right, so now we set up. This is the inner. This is where we'll be setting the fire. What we use on this site, we use this, because as we said, we bring everything in, we take everything out. We set it there. As soon as it's cool, this will come back. We keep it filled up with charcoal. Seems to work best that way for some reason, so we just carried on doing it. So this is the fire site. There's two entrances and exits. This is one entrance. The children are told on the safety talk that they're not allowed to enter this part unless they're being invited in, and when they're invited in, they will sit on these outsides. So this is one entrance exit, this is the other entrance exit. We like to do it, and this half will leave that side, and this half will leave that side. I'll now move on to getting my fire pit set. So this, we're going to sit in here. All this backfill will go back in after we lift the fire. I move that as I can, and as soon as I get that safe and solid so it's not rocking, not moving, I know my fire is ready to start. I can start setting my fire. On our site, as you can see, it's only quite small. We don't want to be taking any of the woods, because all the sticks that we have about the children use to make dens, to build shelters. So for the very few occasions we will be having a fire, it just seems better for us to go out and buy some kindling. Our sessions are only 4 hours long, so we don't want a blazing fire, we just want a fire for children to experience, and further down the line probably do a little bit of cooking. So now I'm going to set my fire. This is all kiln dried. So I'm now collecting the smaller pieces. So I'm now put 4 pieces flat. That is my base. There's different ways, everybody has a different way of lighting a fire. Using this kindling, we found this is the best way of doing it. So you put one, and we're going to go up like that. So then we'll carry on up and up and up. The wood we're not going to use. Just moved away. The method we're going to use for starting the fire is going to be the cotton wool and Vaseline. I think everybody knows that one, but I'll just go through it. Get the cotton wool balls. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And just normal petroleum jelly, Vaseline. So all you do, open it up, put a bit of Vaseline on, and it will go in the centre. Okay, rub it together so it mixes it up. Once you've been using the petroleum jelly, remember to wash your hands, to wipe your hands, get any residue off. And now I think the all important bit. Final check, make sure the area, anybody who's around you, let them know you're starting the fire. No playing or anything. You've checked your fires, fighting equipment, everything seems okay. Yep, we'll go back on. And I just thought we'd try doing it with this, seeing if they are just a toy or can we actually do it with these bracelets. Oh my god, that's it. We've started now. And now the fire started, we've put our gauntlets on. Let's have a fire going. On our side we have one nominated person who manages the fire. Right, while the fire burns down, I think what we'll do now, we'll just have a quick talk about PPE and the equipment that we take out to the woods. You've already seen the PPE that we've used setting the fire with our gloves and everything we've had in place there. I will just go through the stuff that we bring to site as PPE. As we've just gone through winter and we've been out all through winter doing 4 sessions a week out here in the cold, the most important thing and the only way the children can get enjoyment is by being warm and dry. If they're warm and dry, they'll stay out all day. So what we need a buff, we need a warm woolly hat, we need thick socks, we need boots or walking boots. Walking boots tend to be a little bit warmer than Wellington boots. And then big thick outdoor clothes. So we have a salopet and jacket. We check the children. The children are not allowed to come out if they've not got hats, gloves, scarves, all in one suits and appropriate footwear. It's not fair on the children to bring them out to get them cold and wet and they won't enjoy, so they'll be put off for school. So that's one thing we ensure they have. Other things that we bring out for our protection, we bring walkie-talkies, so the members of staff have one. The office has one, so we communicate with the office through walkie-talkies. We also have a works phone, and we've got good signal here. We have 4 sets of gloves. We have the little ones to keep our hands warm, just a little pair of woolen gloves. We have the welding gloves for when we're working on the fire. And we have the rigger gloves, which we use all around site, doing most jobs around the site. We have a whistle, always on us. The other pair of gloves we have are just a normal, so if there's anything that we need to pick up, if we need to clean anything up, if we need to do first aid, anything like that, we always have these powder free gloves. We also have sun cream and midget cream. These are my own personal ones. I wouldn't put these on a child. If they got their own, they can put their own on. We are not allowed to do it. We don't put this on other children. But for a more comfortable time, we have them. Certain jobs we do around site, we'll need our glasses. I wear these ones because I can wear them over the top of my reading glasses, but children can have these just normal ones on. We have our burn kit, that's always with us, and we have our first aid kit, and we always carry, as part of the first aid kit, a sick bag. And what we do with that is, if a child's sick in the woods, we'd collect some of the sick if we could. Then if the children deteriorates or it gets any worse, that can be taken away and analysed to see if they've picked up something poisonous or something like that. Once we've collected the sample of sick, we'll keep that for 24 hours, just in case the hospital wants to get back to us. But that is all part of our first aid kit. Now, also part of our PPE is, we always have long sleeves. All the children, summer or any time, we keep our long sleeves on. We always have long, we don't allow shorts. We keep long trousers on. We also have our socks tucked into our pants. Even if we've got, whether we've got wellies or boots on, that's how we do it. That'll stop any ticks picking up and going on. It's just one barrier. I think that's everything we do. Oh, we keep our head covered at all time. Summer, to keep the sun off. Winter, obviously to keep the foul weather off. But yeah, so that is, we insist on our forest school that the legs are covered, their arms are covered, and their head's covered. Gloves, winter or summer, they carry them. If they don't want to wear them in summer, they can take them off and put them back and put them away. They take up no room in the pocket, so we ask them to do that. I'm now going to demonstrate how we safely put out our fire. As you can see, We knew what time we were going to put the fire out, so we've let the fire die down, and now mainly it is ashes. This is how we put our fire out. As we said before, the best method and the safest method is to use a watering can and use it 1 arm's length away from your body. If you was to tip the water on, the water would turn to steam and could scald you. So what we do, we stand away, we make sure there's no learners within the square, and then we start on the outside and we slowly put a little bit of water around, coming back to the middle, and at this stage we stop. We put our first bit of water on, so now we go in with a stake. We break it up a little bit. And yet again, still at 1 arm's length away. And again, where we mistake. Quite happy that that is out and cold. I now remove my fire pit. The tin is cold, everything is cold. And as we said, on our site we do not leave anything that resembles anything like a fire pit. So now, with the help of the learners, we remove any and now you just spread these back out again. Just before I fill the fire pit in, I was just checking to make sure it was cold, which it is. So we'll go ahead now, fill the fire pit in. And that is where our fire pit was. So now we're breaking camp, and like I said when we set up, I'll show you that it's come to the end of the session. You've got cold hands. We can do this, and this is why we use this one. We break it down one-handedly, and that's it, it's down. No tangles and no knots. As I said, Next time we set this, now we know we'll be using tree huggers, and the tree huggers will be left in position, and then when we come it'll be just a matter of clicking on. Cute.
That'll do.